One of the biggest heists in history just happened. $330 million of Bitcoin was stolen. To put that into perspective, it's bigger than the Antwerp diamond heist, the Lufthansa heist that you probably saw in Goodfellas. It was also bigger than the Great Train Robbery in 1963. And if we're talking crypto, it's the 6th largest in history. This was first flagged by Zach XBT, who noticed the unusual wallet movements before anyone else. It was a long-term Bitcoin wallet that was emptied, and it had no obvious ties to exchanges or companies. 3,250 Bitcoin, worth about $330 million, was moved in one transaction. So now the thief has the money. What did they do with it? Well, the Bitcoin wasn't just left sitting there. It was broken down into smaller amounts, around 50 to 100 BTC at a time, pushed rapidly through 6 different instant swap exchanges. These instant swaps don't hold customer funds like large exchanges, and often don't require any deep KYC. They're designed to be very fast, but they do come at a cost. In this case, the thief was paying 1% to 3% in fees on every transaction, meaning millions was sacrificed just to move fast and to not do a KYC. Pretty obvious why they wouldn't do that though. That doesn't take a rocket scientist. See, the thief's push for privacy didn't stop there. That Bitcoin got converted into what is crypto's probably most famous privacy coin, Monero. And Monero is built very differently to Bitcoin. First, every payment uses a stealth address, so you can't see who's getting the money. Second is something called ring signatures. Every spend is mixed in with fake ones, so no one can tell who actually sent it. That's starting to really muddy the water. Thanks to a thing called ring CT, the amounts are hidden too. You can't even see how much is being moved. And even the network traffic, that's also scrambled using something called Dandelion++. Yeah, that was clearly written to read on a computer, not out loud. But Dandelion++ ultimately makes it impossible to know where the transaction started. In simple terms, once Bitcoin becomes Monero, it's basically impossible to do blockchain analysis. And that'll stay that way unless the thief literally makes a human error, leaking metadata, reusing a wallet, or trying to cash out through a KYC exchange. This money genuinely could be gone for good. When the thief did these swaps, Monero surged 50% in price, from around $227 to $390 in just a few hours. And it wasn't because of new adoption, obviously, it was just new demand, $330 million worth of demand. And that's where things get even more interesting. Monero's liquidity has been getting thinner for months. A lot of major exchanges like OKX, Kraken, and Binance EU have been delisting privacy coins, partly because of growing regulatory pressure. With fewer places to trade and less real depth in the market, a flood of hundreds of millions of dollars, it can't be absorbed, right? It just has nowhere to go. The price ripped higher. The first theory is social engineering, tricking someone into giving access rather than breaking in through code or hacking. And Zach XBT mentioned that this heist looks like it could have used something similar to this. Another theory is that it could be North Korea's Lazarus Group, one of the most notorious state-backed hacker groups, tied to some of the biggest crypto thefts in history. But Zach's read on this one so far is that this probably isn't Lazarus. In short, it's too messy. Fast laundering, smaller hops, millions burned in fees. Doesn't really match how this group normally operates. And the last theory is a wallet exploit. This one is probably the most simple and could be also known as a skill issue. An old private key leak, malware. Right now, none of these are confirmed, and there's probably more theories, but these are the ones that I've been able to find. So while this is unfolding, I started to think about this, or probably a little bit too deeply. It made me, really think about the fact that we need to think about our security more. The thinking loop. This event also sparks a bigger conversation around privacy coins and what it means for the future of blockchain tech. Privacy was one of the founding reasons for this to exist, but it's now starting to go the other way. Centralization's coming in, there's talk of stablecoin legislation in the US government, and it really puts a spotlight on the tug and pull between protection and privacy. Where does the line of right and wrong sit? If you appreciated this breakdown, I'd love if you could reshare it, like it, subscribe on YouTube, whatever else, because it enables me to make more of this stuff. And I'm doing it out of love and passion for crypto, AI, tech, and the positive impact that I think it can have on the world. It sucks to report events like this, but they are part of the journey and we can learn from them and hopefully look after all of our stuff and each other better. Peace. Hope you have a good day.